Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Diverge podcast for 2026. And what a year it is going to be. It is going to be absolutely jam-packed, filled with action, and of course filled with mountain bike races, trail runs, and some other exciting things as well. But with the first part of the year being highly focused on mountain biking, a little bit of gravel, but mainly mountain biking as we build up towards the 21st edition, 22nd edition, I don't even know anymore, of the Absa Cape Epic. It's where all the focus is. It's what all the early season races are building towards. Let's let's kick off the year with a calendar. And for 2026, I've put together the Diverge cycling calendar. And it's a collection of the events that I like, events that I've worked on, events that I've taken part in, events that I wish I could, that are bucket list events I wish I could still take part in. It's by no means exhaustive. It's potentially a little bit upsetting to some people who were left off. I've only got one message about that so far, but yeah, this is my calendar of events for the year and events that I think, yeah, you should watch, ride if you can, or just follow along as they unfold. So let's dive right into it. Kicking off in January with the Attakwas Extreme. Sure, I think from a perspective of having worked on it many times, having ridden it once, Attakwas is always that race that keeps you honest over the December period, keeps you on your bike, keeps you training. And honestly, once you've got through Attakwas, you're pretty much prepared for anything South African cycling has to throw at you. If you can survive the Attakwas, you can survive basically anything else in the in the year. And yeah, the 2026 edition should be no different. Obviously, a little over a week away from it. Looks like the weather might be relatively mild, feel hotter than the predicted high of 28, 29 degrees. Southeasterly wind, though, which means a headwind for the final stretch coming in home. Next week, I have a little bit more of a breakdown of what to expect, look at who's riding as well. So for now, just to say 17th of January, yeah, the season kicks off with the Attakwas Extreme. Then on the 31st of January, the first Trailseeker, Ford Trailseeker of the year in Banguk, just outside Stellenbosch. Always fantastic trails in Banguk, but also always lots of climbing. So it's a tough one, probably one of the toughest trail seekers of the year. And it's always the one where there's lots of international names here as well. It's the time of the year where the riders are training. The international cross-country pros are training in Stellenbosch. So last year, Yolanda Neft won the women's race. And we can expect some big names there again this year. Again, that's a race I'm covering, so there will be a little bit more info on the first Trailseeker of the year coming up in the next couple of weeks. Heading into February, and it's all about the Momentum Medical Scheme Tankwa Trek presented by Biogen, the first UCI stage race of the South African season. From the 5th to the 8th of February, there are still some entries available to the Tankwa Trek, I'm told, as well. Always tough. That Fitzenberg Valley stage, for me, is the one that people underestimate. The riding in there is spectacular, but it's all day on the pedals, up and down, up and down. Relatively technical as well. Obviously not like get off and walk technical, but just that you have to keep your focus and really pick your lines very well. Otherwise, you lose all momentum with those sort of like sheer little rocks that you end up riding into. Stage 3, of course, the Merino Monster, the big day that everybody else is worried about. But I find the Monster's not so bad because the surfaces are pretty smooth. But that's normally the day that decides who will win the Tankwa Trek. Final day around the Koa Bokkerveld. A bit more fun riding, a little bit more relaxed. But yeah, over the 4 days, it is just a spectacular event. Then moving on to the 14th of February and the Cedar. It's not an event that I've taken part in, but the Cedarburg is a magnificent place to race your bicycle. It's part of the UCI Gravel World Series and a big old loop of the Cedarburg. It's beautiful. It's tough. It's rough on a gravel bike as well. There is a fair bit of tarmac stretches or fair amount of tarmac in that 240-kilometer route, but still, it is a real challenging race, and one that's had some wild weather. When they first staged it in August, they had snow. Now in February, you can expect it to be pretty hot. So yeah, a tough old day on the bike. But if you want to score UCI points, you can't get them for free, of course. And then another big build-up race to the Cape Epic is on the 21st of February, the Mbuko Big Five. Those Big Five climbs around Wellington, including the climb up to the top of the cliffhanger, and then that spectacular switchback descent off the cliffhanger. Really is probably not South Africa's best trail by a fair distance, but definitely South Africa's most spectacular and yeah, jaw-dropping. Great for the viewers. There will be good coverage of that again this year. So yeah, check out the Mbuko Big Five. If you're not riding it, follow them on social media, on Instagram in particular, and you can watch all that action as it unfolds. Another race that attracts a good international field as well of the top professionals. Heading into March, and that's big event season. South Africa's two biggest events, the Cape Town Cycle Tour and the Absa Cape Epic. The Cape Town Cycle Tour is at its earliest possible slot this year. It's always the second Sunday of the month, and this year that means it's the 8th of March, which is as early as it can be. It will be, yeah, another magnificent ride. The fun riders, world champs. There will, of course, be a very fiercely contested elite men's and women's race as well. A couple of the mountain bike pros always come out for that, and it's always a great day out. If you can ride it, there are also some entries left for that. If you can ride it, get around the peninsula and enjoy Cape Town at its very best by bicycle. On the 11th of March, between the Cape Town Cycle Tour and the Cape Epic, it's the Songo Champions Race in Kayamandi, and yes, it attracts some great riders, some people building up to the Epic. Some really big names have won it over the years: Annika Langvat, Sam Gaze, Alan Hatherley, Tom Pidcock. Yeah, it's sort of a bit of a who's who of mountain biking has come through the Champions Race over the years. Fun event, open for everybody to come and watch, and it really attracts the cream of the crop to Kayamandi, and it's a great showcase for songo.info, which is a charity that really does fantastic work, both in the cycling space and in the educational space. And they're expanding this year, so they need to raise more funds. They've put in a prefab classroom already, and they're going to put in a second one. They're looking to expand to 160 to 180 kids this year. I think there's almost 150 kids in the program already. So yeah, they're really doing great things. And one of the easy ways to support them is just to get down to the Champions Race, pay for parking, and that money goes to supporting songo.info and the great work that they do. Then on the 15th, it's the Cape Epic, starting, of course, with a prologue at Mirandal this year, and then making the long trek out to Montague for the first proper marathon-related Cape Epic in a while. 2023, there were some big days from Lawrenceford to Greyton, but overall probably not the biggest epic. But this one it's the longest one in a while. Back to some routes, both in Montague, and then once they get to Greyton for a stage, and then a long trek to Stellenbosch, where the final two stages are more punchy, more what we're used to in the epic over the last few years. So hopefully a good mix there, for something for the marathon specialists as well as something for the cross-country specialists. Of course, there will be live broadcasts from the Cape Epic, lots and lots on their own social media, and then I'll be there covering it for Diverge.info as well, trying to bring you some insights that maybe you don't always get from the race, speaking to riders, more interviews, a little bit more behind the scenes, trying to just share a bit more of what actually goes on at the Cape Epic, so with the pros and also then with the more no one's a social rider at the Epic, but maybe not the, a little bit further back in the field, the guys that are surviving rather than racing for victory at the Cape Epic. Heading into April, and it's the inaugural edition of the Garden Route Giro Drylands, big gravel stage race, 6-day gravel stage race, starting in Mossel Bay, finishing in Wilderness, taking in a lot of the Thomas Baines passes, including Garcia Pass. Royberg is not a Baines pass, but it is a fantastic pass nonetheless. Swartberg Pass, Meyringspoort, Prince Alfred Pass, and the Seven Passes, all built by Thomas Bain. So it's gonna be really cool riding. Probably a bit smoother, well, definitely a bit smoother than the Gravel Burns route. A little bit more friendly on the body, but still tough. Lots of climbing, some big days in there as well, including a 170-kilometer Queen stage on the penultimate day of the race, stage 5. So I'm looking forward to the Garden Route Giro. Going to be there, going to bring the action, bring you the action from that, working for the race. But also, of course, there'll be lots of it on Diverge as well, on the website and on the socials if you want to follow along. Yeah, it's definitely one that I'm very excited for. In May, the World Series, the UCI MTB World Series kicks off, and it's a busy, busy month in South Africa as well. But let's have a chat through the World Series first of all. The first round is the race of South Korea on the 1st to the 3rd of May. XCC, XCO, and downhill. It was the first time we will see Candice and Tyler Jacobs will definitely be racing there. I don't know if it's the first time we'll see Alan Hatherley racing XCO in 2026, because of course he will be starting his year at the Attakwas next weekend. Big reveal there. And then racing on the road for Jaco Alula, and he starts off with the Alula Tour, and then SA Road Champs in February, Strade Bianchi in March, and Tirreno Adriatico. And that's as far as we have his calendar for now. So I don't know if he then carries on the road or takes a bit of a break and gets into mountain bike racing. Of course, Alan's big focus is building towards the Olympic Games in 2028 in LA. So he will definitely be looking to defend his World Championships title later on in the year. But starting off in May, I don't know if he will be in Korea. We then move on to Novo Mesto, one of the iconic cross-country events on the World Series circuit in the Czech Republic. That's 22 to 24 May. From the 28th to the 31st of May, in Perigud, there's downhill and enduro racing. On the 11th to the 14th of June, it's everything, all action at Leogang in Austria, XCC, XCO, downhill and enduro. Then Lenzerheide in Switzerland, another iconic venue for the short track cross country, the Olympic format cross country, and downhill. Lenzerheide takes place 19 to 21 June. Then 26 to 28, Val di Fassi is in Italy, and enduro leg of the World Series there. Another leg in Italy, this time on the other side of the country, near the border with France, in Val d'Aosta, and that's XCC, XCO, downhill and enduro. Just two events that host all 4 formats this year, and that's on the 3rd to the 5th of July. A little bit later on in July, 9 to the 12th of July, Paul Arensal in Andorra is cross-country short track, cross-country Olympic, and downhill. That's always a fantastic event, that in Andorra, and of course where Alan won his first world title in 2024. Then The Belval to Valais, another enduro only leg, 17 to 19 July. Same for Haute Savoy from 14 to 16 August, also just enduro. The following weekend, 21, 23 August, though, Haute Savoy in France. Another leg with cross country, short track, cross country Olympic, and downhill. And then we move over to North America for the final rounds, starting off with Soldiers Field or Soldiers Hollow, pardon me, in Utah, cross country, the cross country disciplines, 19th to 20 September. Whistler Bike Park, 25 to 27 September in British Columbia in Canada. That's just downhill. And then Lake Placid at the Olympic site, where they're building towards hosting a World Championships within a couple of years. That's the 2nd to the 4th of October. That's cross country disciplines and downhill. Then the World Champs at Mont Sainte Anne in Quebec, Canada, 9 to 12 October. And again, short track, cross country, XCO, and downhill. So that's the World Series calendar for this year, and it is going to be another stellar season. Of course, we've heard that Sammy Maxwell from Decathlon Ford has pulled out and taking a mental health break this year, so that opens up the women's field a little bit. She was the overall series champion last year, but there's some exciting stuff with cross country races coming to the Epic as well. So we'll get a chance to see some of them in action in March, and hear what their plans are for the season and what races they will be targeting aside from the world champs. Of course, Jenny Reesvets is very much the rider to watch there in the women's side, and of course, all eyes on Alan Hadley, the South African fan favorite, on the men's side. On the local front in May, kicks off with the Waterberg Traverse from the 1st to the 3rd of May up there at Summer Place. Fantastic, absolutely incredible riding. Really is one of the best places to ride a mountain bike, and a lacquer place for a stage race as well. There's the second Trailseeker of the year at in the Cradle on the 2nd of May, and then Sani to Sea, an event that I haven't done but I would really love to do. That takes place from the 7th to the 9th of May this year. The 361, good old ultra endurance 360 kilometer circumnavigation of the Klein Karoo. That's from the 22nd to the 24th of May, starting on the Friday afternoon. Technically running into the early hours of Sunday morning. Most people are done by Saturday, by late on Saturday though. And then the South African Marathon Champs take place on the 24th of May at Karkloof. So once again, back to Karkloof for the South African Marathon Champs, where Mark Pritson was crowned champion this year. Mark Pritson and Samantha Saunders were crowned champion in 2025. So we'll see how they go on with defending those titles in May. Race to the Sun then takes place on the 30th of May. Big gravel race from Faces, and a race that's really is a great introduction to gravel. Not too much climbing, nice and fast. Good road tactics come into it, and a good way to get into gravel racing if you are interested in gravel racing. In June, it's Bergen Bush. It's an event that I have ridden once, and would love to go back to it. It's just such a spectacular event. Amazing trails, flowing trails, great hospitality from those KZN farmers around there. The talk on top of Spionkop on the Saturday night or the night after stage 2 is one of the highlights. Just to be a nerd of something that I've experienced at a bike race, especially away from bike racing at a bike race, really is an event I could highly recommend doing again. And so that's from the 5th to the 7th of June, the Bergen Bush Descent. And then on the 6th of June, up in Gauteng, the Van Galen leg of the Trailseeker series. Then the South African Gravel Championships, which takes place at the Crater Cruise on the 14th of June. Not an event I know much about, the Crater Cruise, but it will, of course, be fiercely contested, being the South African Championships. And the weekend after, 27th June, another Trailseeker, this time at Sondela. So busy week, a busy month in June for the Trailseeker racing. Of course, there is that 100,000 rand for the series champion at the four Trailseeker events this year for the men's and women's champions, 100,000 rand each. And if anyone can win all 6 events, they will ride home with 1,000,000 rand. So great incentive there for for performing at the Trailseeker. July, a little bit of a quieter month with just the SA cross country and short cross championships. That's 18th and 19th of July in Bloemfontein. Right at the end, last day of the month, Storms River Traverse kicks off on the 31st of July, and then the stage racing action gets underway again with that. Up in the Bosveld on the 1st of August, there's the penultimate round of the Trailseeker series, and the Storms River Traverse carries on over the 1st and into the 2nd of August. And then on the 8th and 9th of August this year, it's the Trans Pavillons, another one of my favorite events, one that I've ridden on 3 occasions, worked on multiple times, and it really is. It's a great big day out. Probably I don't want to say it's an easy 240 kilometers, but it's the type of thing that you break it up into pieces, and that's however long you take on the bike, be it 8 hours if you're racing, or 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours if you're taking it a bit more easy, just riding to finish. It really is great, and riding into the night is it's a weird thing to say as a highlight, but it's definitely a highlight. September, another busy month. Again, Race to the Sea gets the action underway on the 5th of September from Franschhoek to Benguela Cove. And then the following Saturday, the 12th of September, the final round of the Trailseeker series in Wellington. Hopefully we'll see somebody win 1,000,000 rand there. I don't know if Faces would be so keen on giving away the 1,000,000, but it would be cool to see if it can happen. Of course, Marco Hubert won the first 3 events last year before crashing, injuring his knee, puncturing, and missing out in the sprint at De Bosveld. So he'll definitely be one of the riders that's very motivated to give it another go, another crack this year. Then it's the Cape Pioneer from the 22nd to the 26th of September, starting in Wilderness again, finishing in Oudtshoorn. And the route has yet to be announced, but it's going to be a stunning 5 days of mountain biking, real mix of terrain with some more open karoo riding, some more technical garden route riding, some big climbs, some big mountains to conquer in there as well. Really is. It's such a fun event to take part in. So there's a reason why it's called the Race with Soul. And then on the 27th of September, it's the Lions Karoo Coast, one of South Africa's most iconic mountain bike races, from Uniondale to Knysna along the Prince Alfred Pass. 100 kilometers of, real proper old school South African mountain biking. You could do it on a gravel bike. It's more comfortable on a mountain bike. And it's just what mountain biking in South Africa is kind of, for me, Trans Pavillons and Karoo Coast really showcases what mountain biking in South Africa is actually about, sort of away from the more Instagrammable and a little bit hipstery things that mountain biking can so easily become. It's far more down to the roots of the sport, and you really see all comers from all over the country coming in to ride those events, which is very, very cool. October, all about the gravel Prince George on the 17th of October. It's a bit unclear at this point if the Montague Pass will be fixed by then. They've been promising to start fixing it, but haven't started yet. That is George municipality and Western Cape roads. So it's very possible that Prince George will once again finish at Louvain, as it has done for the last 3 years, but still going up and over the Swartberg Pass from Prince Albert's side. It's a challenge. It's a tough old climb. It's a shorter way up, but definitely the steeper side of Swartberg Pass. That's how the Prince George starts, and then into the Karoo with some undulating roads. It's a really tough 100-mile of that, but one that's definitely worth doing, especially right down to water points. You get well looked after, and good day out on the bike. Then, of course, Netbank Gravel Burn from the 25th to the 31st of October this year. Yeah, the inaugural edition was beset by bad weather, but the vibes were still high, and I think they've learnt a lot from that. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the second edition, especially seeing as they are doing a kindling event that is open to the general public in April. So they'll have another shot at fine-tuning some things there, and especially fine-tuning the burn camps out there in the middle of nowhere. It's obviously important that the ablution facilities, the food and all of that is top notch for the price that you are paying at Gravel Burn. And but it is difficult to execute those things. So a year of thinking about it, working out solutions will hopefully have served them very well. The Diverge cycling calendar comes to an end in November with another packed month of events, starting off with the F&B Wines to Wales series, the Chardonnay event, the women's race from the 6th to the 8th of November, then the Pinotage, the e-bike race from the 9th to the 11th. That's the midweek, the Monday to Wednesday event, and then the men's race, the Shiraz, 13th to the 15th of November. We are back to the traditional route after the switchback in 2025. So in 2026, it will be Lawrenceford towards the coast. I'm not sure yet at this stage if they're finishing at Benguela Cove or going back to Onrus. We will find out probably in the next couple of months what the route plans are there. Actually, next couple of months after the Cape Epic, almost certainly, once Epic Series can focus on other things other than the Cape Epic. We will find out what the route plans are for the 2026 Wines to Wales, but it will be spectacular. JK and the Cape Trails team always build incredible trails. They're always building new trails for the event as well. So you can be sure they'll see something new and lots of old favorites as well during F&B Wines to Wales. Then we kind of end with the Old Mutual Wealth Double Century on the 21st of November. It's the last confirmed event for the year. There's a couple that I would add in, but dates still unconfirmed. Double Century. It's difficult to say that a 200-kilometer road race is a fun race, but it kind of is. There's obviously guys that race it, but that team time trial format does make it a lot of fun, and just suffering together with mates and colleagues and all of that really does make it a very special event, and it's a great way to end the year, if it is indeed the end of the year as I see it, because To Hell and Back has yet to announce their dates. EcoBound have yet to secure the dates for To Hell and Back in 2026. It's unlikely that they will overlap with Wines to Wales or the Double Century, so we're probably looking at the 28th and 29th of November for To Hell and Back. And then there's Ride Joburg as well, which still needs to announce their dates. And they are waiting on venues to confirm there, but they've got a bit of a change of route apparently to look forward to. So some exciting news yet to break in 2026. And we will be bringing you all of that and more over the next 11 months. So keep watching the podcast, keep tuning into the podcast, and keep an eye on the website and on social media as well. Until next time, and next week, when we build up to the 2026 Momentum Medical Scheme Attakwas Extreme presented by Biogen. Cheers.